Now, one of the oldest cliches is that a week is a long time in politics, and that definitely seems to be the case with the Reform Party. 7 days ago, Nigel Farage was celebrating after having 5 MPs elected into Parliament for the first time. But today, they appear to be staring at something of a civil war after Ben Habib was dumped as deputy leader and replaced by Richard Tice. Well, I'm joined now by the political commentator, James Matthewson. James, always a pleasure to have you on the show. So all political parties fall out. Just seems that Reform are doing it rather quickly.
They are, aren't they? And of course, this was inevitable, I think, Martin, because you've got this power vacuum now, and you didn't have it before because they had no power. There was nothing to fight over other than party structure and the general political party itself. And of course, who wants a political party that doesn't have any seats? Well, now they do have seats, so there is actually something to scrap over. And I think it was inevitable. You got 3 rich lads, right? You got 3 very rich lads at the top of this party. You've got Richard Tice, you've got obviously Nigel Farage, the figurehead, and then you've got Ben Habib, who now is obviously in a bit of a huff, it seems, from his social media that he's been moved out of the way in favour of Richard Tice. So it's a power struggle, but I think it is important that we remember this isn't some kind of party of the people that we're seeing struggle for power, for representation. It's 3 very rich old men who are fighting for the power of a party that's just won a few seats.
That's rather uncharitable, James. 4 million votes didn't come out of thin air, and 4 million votes, by the way, happened in a lot of areas where the Labour Party used to dominate in the Red Wall. A big working class contingent. You know, they're not bothered about the wealth of people. I'm surprised you are. Sir Keir Starmer is a knight. Why should that matter? It's simply the best people for the job. But let's get back to this particular issue. Reshuffles happen all the time. Reshuffles happen in every party. This has happened. Now, Ben Habib is saying, he said on social media today, he believes that the party needs to be democratised. What do you think he means by that?
Yeah, he has. And to be fair to Ben Habib, I don't know, I've met Ben, I've been on debates with him against him, and I think he's a decent guy. He seems like a lovely guy. But he has said previously, before the election even took place, that he thought there needed to be, and he wanted to promise voters that he would fight for democratisation of the party. He obviously saw that there was some kind of problem there, or some kind of element, or some risk of him perhaps being shunted out of the way in favour of other people, because political parties like this, I mean, it's a private business, right? That's how it's been structured, that's how it's been set up. It doesn't have the mechanisms installed in them that, you know, for example, the Labour Party, being over 100 years old, has. You know, it has a very strong membership, it has very strong core rules and a rule book that governs it. These newer political parties don't have the benefit of that. So there is all sorts of things that can go on. And of course, politics is a game of egos. Let's not joke ourselves. 4 million people have put their trust in this political party. You're absolutely right. And they have the right to be represented by those people. However, the political party itself owes them transparency. It owes them a decent structure and some kind of democratic process. And I think at the moment what we're seeing is, you know, people with their egos, with skin in the game, wanting to make sure that they've got part of this movement that now has success behind it for the first time.
But as you said, James Matthewson, it's only 1 week in, and no doubt that kind of process will start to kick into action. The Reform Party, of course, will be holding the Labour Party's feet to the flames, particularly on immigration, and that is why a lot of people feel that Nigel Farage said they will be going for the Labour vote on that precise reason. Is that kind of is that part of the reason you think why the people on the left are attacking Reform over this, because they would rather they just go away?
Nah, I think they're after the Tories, and I think it's the Tories who are scared of them. I think they've had all the Labour votes they can have now. You know, they stood candidates in all those Labour seats, and even in seats like the former Blythe Valley seat, which is now Asherton Blythe, places like that where they were expected to do well, they weren't even turning out many leaflets, and they had candidates that weren't even real candidates in places. They will have more people flock towards them now that they've proven they can win seats, of course, but I do think they stand on a precipice of either being a vehicle for people like Nigel Farage or Richard Tice and just their egos, or being a wider democratic structure, which obviously the other political parties already have in place. I don't think it's Labour who'll be worried about them. I think it's the Tories. Tories, and I think they're planning on cannibalising that right-wing vote and trying to be the right-wing party, the part of the centre-right and centre-right issues. I don't think them and Labour have much in common at all, or much to worry about on that front.
Well, a lot of those red wall votes went to the Conservatives in 2019. Who's to say they can't do that in 2029 if we can't stop the boats and if we can't make our borders secure? But look, thanks for your comments. Always a pleasure. James Matthewson, thanks for appearing on the show. Thank you.